Okay, so before I get into the slides, right, I just wanted to know from you people what would be the significance of this particular t- topic, right? Because when we say that IT delivery management using agile, do you think that the topic makes more relevance in this present trend setup? And potentially, what would be the significance of it? So go ahead and then put your thoughts in the chat. Because nowadays the trend of agile and agility is changing, right? Gone are the days where coaches means you just go and do only coaching and consulting, correct? Okay, Sumant says iterative cycle, continuous feedback and improvements, collaboration, customer involvement, functional increments frequently. Okay, okay. Sharat says, okay, I'll just go through the chat one by one. Sharat says 100% relevant as it's not only adopting the frameworks, but you should be able to deliver projects more efficient within cost, time, and the scope. Means the triple constraints of the project. And by the way, Sharat himself is an agile expert. So when he says something, it has its profound significance. Okay, Ram says that lies in the ability to flexibility, responsiveness. Okay, all right. So let me try to paraphrase my perspective, and then we will get into the slides. Okay. See, nowadays when you are talking about agile coaching and the consulting, what does the companies really look out for is, suppose the project is in a red, okay, you will be called in as an agile coach or as an agile program manager or as a delivery manager, whatever be the roles and the titles. What is more important is you should be working together with the team and then probably change the status of the project from red to amber and then from amber to green. If I want to cut a long story short, this is actually one of the expectations from the clients. The second expectation is, at least to some extent, the coach should enable and empower the team to actually clear away the obstacles or the hurdles and actually deliver value. Okay. Once again, value is a subjective phenomena. We have some techniques to quantify value. All those things are fine, but it is not just you going and teaching or doing say coaching, right? You actually need to be part of the game. Okay, so you need to be involving in the game, play the game within the constraints of the project, constraints of the ecosystem and the landscape, and then help the team to deliver sustained value. This is the, I'm just trying to set the context here. Okay, so with this particular understanding, let us now get into the slides. One second, I'll just try to open the PPT what I've just prepared and kept. Give me a minute. Unfortunately, in this laptop, we have some problem when I try to slide show it, but the font sizes are big enough. You can actually read it anyway. Okay, all right. Can someone confirm me? Able to see the slide, the PPT? Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so this slide is a quick introduction about myself in terms of my years of experience and in terms of my years of experience in Agile and some of the clients with whom I have worked in the past. I am also part of the interview panel for multiple jobs in Agile, like Scrum Master, Agile Coaching, Project Program Manager, Product Manager, all those things. Okay, now before I get into the subject, right? Before I get into the subject in terms of building the competency and the capability, one of the important point what I felt is, any kind of a transformation begins with you, right? You as an individual. So most of the time I generally tell success is more of 80% mindset and 20% of his skills, because the skills can be improved significantly over a period of time, provided you have the habit of continuous learning and the continuous improvement. And the same thing applies to me too, right? So don't feel worried if you are not able to understand certain concepts whenever you are hearing the term for the first time. Little bit, first time, little bit it could be a challenging one, but then you can feel free to connect with me after the webinar also. So I'm just trying to give you the importance of the mindset aspect before we get into the webinar, because we all generally say, right, agile is a mindset. So we need to have the that growth oriented mindset to continuously learn and improve. Correct? So from that perspective, I just want to put this slide before we get into the context. Okay, now having been said this, much of my webinars, if you look into the pattern, right, we will actually begin with a simple case study. Okay, and then you can go through the case study, put your thoughts in the chat, and then once we complete the webinar, the same case study we can try to relook into it, and then see what are the learnings you have applied as part of the webinar journey. Okay, so what I wanted you people is take a look into this particular case study, and then start putting your uh, thoughts in the chat. So take a couple of minutes to go through the case study. So we have Suman, Sharat, Lakshmi, Monish, okay, Sandeep, Ramnath, Ravindranath, Juju, Chandan, Murali, Olu, Dilip, Ram Sharma, Noor, Ravi Kumar. Okay, some of the people are known to me. Rajesh, Richard, Savi, Shivakumar, Mailesh, Suryakant, okay, Ambrish, Shripad, Omar, Idris, Prasanna. Okay, good. So what we'll do, let's, um, yeah, I have made it a full screen now. Only thing is, with full screen, I cannot keep changing the slides. But for now, I have made that slide in the full screen. I have a problem in this laptop. Okay. So if you see, no, this is a simple case study. Okay. We like a financial institution have some uh, employees, and they are trying to transform the IT delivery management using agile methodologies. It could be Scrum, Kanban, Safe, Less, DAD, Nexus, Spotify, or your own custom framework also, right? So okay, what are the problems? The institution was struggling with long delivery cycle, frequent project delays. Means they were not able to meet the predictability. That is the meaning, right? If they are not able to meet the predictability, your projects will have uh, frequent delays and high operational cost. Okay. So the goal was to improve the time to market, enhance the product quality, and increase the CSAT score. This is a this is a simple situation, common situation, right? Now let's say you have called in as a delivery manager for that particular IT team, okay? And you can also have your conversation or interaction with your agile coach or your transformation consultant. Now, given this is the situation, probably what aspects you will focus. So go ahead and then put your thoughts, because I'm just trying to set the tone of the webinar using this particular case study. Okay, Ramnath says conduct a thorough assessment of the current IT delivery process, identify the bottleneck, inefficiencies, and the pain points. So the bottlenecks have been already given. Inefficiencies is also been given to some extent. Do a value stream mapping to understand. Mm, are you talking about operational value stream and development value stream? Because you put VAS and NVAS. What is that? Okay, you can ping in the chat anyway. Um, okay, value added service and the non value added service. Okay, got it. Okay, because when you do your value stream mapping, you try to do the flow efficiency. So your value added time divided by your total time into 100. Okay, all right. Mm, okay, now how many people feel? How many people feel that you have some kind of a situation like this in your project or a engagement? You can put a yes in the chat or something in the chat to just to acknowledge how many people feel that a similar kind of a situation comes, or a similar kind of a situation you also have in your project context or a landscape. Hmm. Okay, now let me try to slowly shift the gear. See, gone are the days where people call you for a interview and then ask you basic questions. Nowadays, what really happens is many of the companies will be sending you a case study. Means a real time situation like this. This is a very simple situation, okay, by the by. But in the real time scenario, companies are sending some case study, a two-page PDF file. Okay, in that case study, some problems will be mentioned, and you, as an agile transformation consultant, need to provide your high-level approach, your thought process, your roadmap to solve it, and how will you take it forward. You need to present the case study and then reply back to the mail. They will review your answer to the to that particular case study, then they will actually call you for a interview. The same thing happened with Wells Fargo, companies like Citibank, companies like PayPal, typically for a senior position, not for a scrum master role. Something like the head of the agile transformation office, head of the digital engineering practice, and companies like ThoughtWorks, right? They send a case study. You need to solve the case study within the couple of days or 3 to 4 days maximum. And in the first round of interview, they will ask you, okay, what made you to frame this particular solution as an outcome to that particular case study. That is why in this particular webinars we are trying to simulate it. Okay. Okay. Now let me go through the chat. Okay. So Sharat says, as a delivery manager, I will talk to the consultant. Okay. Current challenges, ground buy-in from the leadership team, super critical. Okay, as we are coaches who really play the game. Understood. And then identify the current state and plan for the future state. All right. Okay. Good answers. Then Jiju says, planning again with prioritizing the market demands into an initiative with a feasible. Okay. Now, let me tell you one important point here. We have three main systems, right? System of a delivery, system of transformation, and system of a continuous improvement. Okay. Now, system of, okay, with the concepts I am going to cover in the slides, I'm just trying to touch the high level surface. Okay. System of a delivery typically focuses on the product roadmap, your product roadmap, your agile release planning, and your milestone level planning, more from the delivery perspective. System of transformation focuses on creating an agile transformation roadmap, creating an agile coaching plan. Okay. System of a continuous improvement focuses on the fulfillment of the retrospective action items. Now, the problem happens in the industry, or the problem happens in much of the companies is your system of a de- delivery will actually go in a one direction. Your system of a transformation will be going in some other direction, and your system of continuous improvement will be going in some other direction. So the energy is getting wasted. So you, as a transformation consultant or as an agile coach or whatever be the role, one of the important point which you need to keep in the mind is you need to converge the effort. See, effort is a scalar quantity, right? But it still needs a direction for you to converge and give you the business outcome. So one of the important thing which I always do in any of the engagement is I make sure that the system of delivery, system of transformation, system of a continuous improvement resonating with each other. All the three things should harmoniously synergize. If everything is going in one direction, then where are we really heading towards? Right? So when you are attending interviews like for a delivery manager role or for an enterprise agile coach role, if the interviewer is asking you, okay, can you tell me some challenges, you need to talk about challenges like this. You should not tell that one guy is not coming for the planning meeting, one guy is not updating the Jira board, I have a challenge to write a JQL query. Those are all scrum master level challenges. Those challenges you cannot tell for senior roles. Okay. All right. So see, all these are simple things, but when I take uh, interviews, these simple things many people miss out. Last week I was taking an interview for an enterprise agile coach role. That the guy was saying that product owner is not coming for a coaching conversation. You can tell this if you are a scrum master. You cannot tell at a level if you are not even able to handle that simple situation. Then how are you going to influence product lines and the product groups, right? So those points you may need to keep in mind. Okay. Okay, now with this understanding, we'll okay. So these are all some of the slides which I will come later. As you people know, I have my own agile mentorship program kind of a thing, and these are all some of the testimonials. This is one of the recent testimonial. Anyway, when I speak about my mentorship program, I will explain it in a in a much more deeper manner. Okay, now let's go to this slide. I'm just trying to put it in a slideshow. Okay. So what do you mean by typically IT delivery? See, now only we are actually beginning the webinar in terms of the slides, but till now I have trying to set the context, preparing the soil for you people so that we can sow the seeds now. Okay. Now in this particular slide only we are actually getting into the learning mode. Okay. Now, what are the different aspects which you need to consider in the mind when you are thinking about IT delivery management? From my perspective, I have put some points. Okay, we need to have a cross-functional team. We need to have customer collaboration. We need to have adaptive planning. Blah blah blah. From a theory point of view. Now, can you tell you? Okay, can you people tell right what other aspects come to your mind when you talk about effectiveness and efficiency in IT delivery management? Can you put some points? Okay. Okay. Let me ask a question here. How will you make your team self-organized? Can you tell that probably if you want to make your team self-organized, possibly how will you do it? Let's see what answers come. So let me type the question, right? How to make your teams self-organized by empowering them, autonomy, okay, alignment with the team number, connect them to the purpose, okay, allowing them to fail fast, okay. And Suman says to make a team self-organized, empower them with the decision-making authority, provide clear goals, vision, okay, accountability, okay, okay, okay. Okay. So one of the simple ways to make a team self-organized is, first of all, really make the team cross-functional. See, cross-functional is something we need to understand in a proper perspective, right? It's not that one single person will have all the capabilities, but as a team, one need to have all the capabilities as a capsule to actually deliver sustained value. That is the meaning of a cross-functional. Now, the problem here is, do you always get a cross-functional team? Absolutely no, right? Only in the books, no, you have these words, cross-functional team. You need to make your existing team to become cross-functional over a period of time, which is a practical reality. See, life is not that easy that every time you get a cross-functional team, you get a self-organized team. Someone had already created a portfolio backlog, someone already created architecture runway. It's not that easy, right? See, when you are sending a meeting invite, how many people really come to the meeting in the first place? Many times people will tell we have some other meeting, the meetings will get prolonged to the next day, or okay, or rather postponed to the next day, which is going to create a cascading ripple effect. Sometimes you send mail and people don't even read the mail. It's a practical reality. Okay, how do I come to know this? Because when they share the screen, you can see that inbox of that person where your mail is not even been read, because they all have their own priorities. So one of the way to make the team to really become self-organized is probably fulfillment of the retrospective action items, which is going to improve the team. Second thing is that based on your agile maturity assessment, wherever the gaps are there, you try to plug the gap. Third thing is that fundamentally look into the skill competency matrix of the team and take measures to make the team cross functional. If the team really becomes cross functional, believe me, people automatically becomes self organized. People need only process managers. People don't need manager to manage them. Okay, actually speaking, people need only process to follow. People don't need a some person to manage them explicitly. Okay, that too in this particular generation. Okay, so these are all the traits which you need to keep in mind. Okay, so slowly we are going to cover the financial aspects and the PMI process areas one by one. Okay. Okay, now can you people tell me when I change it, are you able to see the next slide or the same slide? I have changed the slide now, right? Same slide. Okay, that's the problem. One second, wait. I'll change it and then I'll continue sharing. Okay. Now we move to the next slide. Okay, now in this agile delivery management, what are all the potential risk? I have just put some points. Go through the points for a minute. If you think any other risk also, go ahead and then put it. So we are in the slide saying potential risk. Okay. Potential risk. See, okay, now what is the difference generally? What is the difference between a, generally speaking, what is the difference between a person with a lesser experience versus a person with a higher experience is the higher experienced person would have already walked on the slippery path, right? So that person knows, okay, probably if I take this route of approach, probably this particular approach has a slippery path. The second thing is, if you are really an expertised person and an experienced person, turnaround time to turn the table is going to come down. Means what? Let's say for example, right, Balaji had taken 3 months of time in the past. In 2014 he has taken 3 months of time to change a project from red to green. Whereas in 2024, he is only taking maximum 1 month of time to change the project from a red to green. See, I understand that projects cannot be compared directly. Okay, it's not an apple to apple comparison, but still the person is same, right? So if a person is taking lesser time to turn the table, it's a direct indication that the person's competency level had improved. Correct? Okay. So if generally speaking, in this slide, right, these are all the potential risk. Some kind of a communication gap, some kind of a resistance to change, quality quality issues. The team is not okay. You have a source code but you don't have commons for it. There is a version conflict between the documentation of the code and the source code, and too many priority toggles. So these are all some anything. See, anything and everything which comes on the way as an hurdle to curtail the flow of value can be treated as a risk. Okay, so from where will you take the pointers for the risk? Can someone put some thoughts? From where will you take the pointers for the risk, like in your projects? Let's say you are running a project, right? Be it a Scrum project or a Kanban project. From where will you take the pointers for the risk? From the Scrum team, yes. Yeah, assumes. Okay. So what really happens? Any kind of a impediment, any kind of a blocker or an impediment which is not been addressed within that adequate point of time becomes a potential risk, right? See, risk is not something which will suddenly fall from the sky, correct? It's an impediment or a blocker which the team was not able to resolve. It's a dependency which the team was not able to resolve. Now it is impacting the timeline. Now it is impacting the budgeting aspects of the project. All these things become a potential risk. Of course, from a PMI process area, you have some you actually measure the impact of the risk with the probability of the risk to actually quantify the risk. Okay, impact into probability. But the point is, uh, because in an agile driven engagement, we always work on the highest priority action item, and also a risk adjusted backlog. At any point in time you need to make sure You are not only working on the highest priority item, the risk factor is also internally factored. That is why in an agile project we never talk about a concept called a critical path. Critical path exists as a concept in traditional waterfall model, but in agile projects explicitly we will not talk about a concept called a critical path, because your risk is inherently factored when you do the prioritization. And if you take pointers from safe framework, you have the Rome board: resolved, warned, accepted, mitigated, and all. But make sure that the impediments, dependencies have been called out. Okay, if you take my project, I try to call out the impediments and the dependencies right from the demand backlog. Means what? One level above your portfolio backlog, you always have something called a virtual backlog, which is a demand backlog, wherein the initiatives are entering the funnel to be funded. At that time itself, if you try to take a grip on the project, it is a first stage cancer. We do have a treatment for it. Unfortunately, if it flows through the portfolio backlog, program backlog, product backlog, and enters the sprint, it is a fourth stage cancer. Nothing can be done, right? And many teams, when they are supposed to execute, the teams are doing planning. When they are supposed to when they are supposed to execute the user story and deliver the user story, the teams are sitting and grooming the user story, or refining it. That shows that they are not having that proactive thinking. Not only see, the people alone cannot be blamed. The systems and processes also need to be changed. Say for example, in one project, agile coach is coming inside the project in the 11th sprint. Why? Because there is a background verification going on for that guy. One guy said he will join, but that guy collected an offer letter from some other company and he did not join. So the company waited for a scrum master or an agile coach. Then they took a person. By the time that person joined and joined the team, 11 sprints completed without a scrum master. But still the company says we are following a scrum framework, right? It is a very oxymoronic line to say that you are saying that you following a scrum framework without a scrum master or without a product owner. These are all the issues in the landscape. Your framework alone is not going to solve the problem. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell. So these are all the things which you need to keep in mind in terms of the risk and all. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. In the interest of time, we have a lot to cover. Okay, so let's spend some time on. Okay, I'll just put the eighth slide. Okay, let's let us spend some time on estimation. Okay, from my perspective, you can take a combinational method. Okay, yeah, either you go by W, like you break down the work, or you use your t-shirt sizing, or you factor the risk buffer, or you take an analogous project and then try to take pointers from the. Okay, now what thoughts come to your mind? So why do we need to do the estimates in the first place? What is the use of doing estimation generally? Please put your thoughts in the chat. What will happen if I don't do the estimates? Even if I don't do the estimates, the project is going to run, right? So where does the significance of estimates come? Hmm. Okay. See, Murali Kumar Narayanan says we don't know when we will go live. Okay. Now let me ask a practical question. Is that what really happens in the industry? In the industry, do you really do the estimation then fix the release date? Most likely no. Of course, the context matters. A captive company is something different from a product company versus a service company. But in a service company, in much of the time, release calendar is already fixed. See, now in July 2024, I am now sitting and doing the predictions, or I am now sitting and doing the planning for my 2005 first quarter, right? Because market expects predictability. Release calendar is already fixed by and large, saying that in this particular release, this functionality need to go. Then why do we need to do the estimates? I'm just trying to read the points, okay? Okay. Prediction, the ambiguity in the delivery timeline, the sense the milestones cannot be. Okay, this is a good point indeed. Prasanna says milestones cannot be derived and commitment cannot be provided. Prediction required for funding. Okay, that is more from a funding point of view. Unknown risk dependencies. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Now, see, the answers are of a variety, right? When you look into the chat itself, you can might as well resonate. The answers have a variety. For a variety answer, don't you think logic says a single technique will not work out? See, when the answer is only of a single flavor, I can definitely say use the technique XYZ and then uh, get the solution. When the answers are of a heterogeneity flavor, common sense says one single technique of estimation is not going to have a holistic approach. Correct? That's why I'm just giving you multiple types. Depending upon the context, you may need to select it. Okay, you go for a t-shirt sizing, you take a analog. Okay, now let me tell practically certain things. Okay, see, for example, I'm just giving an example. Let's say a project came from a NatWest Bank, which is a huge transformation project of 125 applications from on-premise to cloud, and also it actually involves an element of a angular it actually involves an element of a angular upgrade together with the modernization to the core, let's say. And let's say this project is going to cut across 125 applications, okay, by and large. Now the prospect is asking me, hey Balaji, can you give me a high level can you give me a high level estimation within the next 3 to 4 days so that we can proceed with the next level of discussion. Now common sense says when I don't know the scope, when I don't know the when I don't know the nitty gritties of the work, then how I can give an estimation? But if you tell this answer to that prospect, then the prospect will go to some other vendor, right? So what are the different ways by which we do? We take an analogous project because in this example, NatWest is of a banking client, right? So similarly, we might have done some projects for Bank of America, some projects for a Citibank of a similar flavor. That is why we say whenever you create a success case studies, document it in a proper place and keep all the artifacts ready so that whenever a similar engagement comes, you have a base reference model. Okay, much of the times goes in hunting for the data. See, you might have created a, a Excel file in your laptop, but you saved the file in some folder name AA. Okay, AA1, and one fine day you wanted that file exactly. Now you forgot where you saved. Actual file picking up is only 2 seconds, but searching the file will take a 1.5 hour, right? Same thing happens in the companies also. Sometimes some project we have done, somewhere it is there. Now we are putting this guy in mail, that guy in mail. So these are all small things which go in the long way to improve the efficiency. Okay, okay, now what we generally do, okay, now we might have done a similar project for a Citibank client. Of course, not at the scale of a 123 application, but maybe at a 40-50 application. So we take that as a reference, and on top of the reference we need to have some calls with the prospect, call out the assumptions, your dependencies, any kind of a limitations or constraints, and have some clarity on is there any other third party vendor, supplier, all those particular integration touch points. Also have clarity on the upstream and the downstream dependencies, and how are you going to create the data test bed setup and all. And based on the high level we can tell, okay, if this project had taken these many months to deliver, probably this project will take this much of a timeline. That is a very ballpark number, but even in the ballpark number you should do your homework and then give the number, right? So in the forthcoming slides I'm going to tell you, okay, and you have something called a confidence factor. Any kind of a estimation given by your project manager, going forward ask them what is the confidence factor. If the guy doesn't understand what is confidence factor, then you need to explain to him, okay, which I'm going to cover in the slide, so please hold on to that thing. So These are all some of the high level estimation techniques which you can use, so that you can actually know. And once you begin the journey, you will get more clarity. Okay. Now let me tell one more thing. See, one more quick way to do, okay, one more quick way to do is, let's say let's say that we are now creating a high level view saying that on the q, okay, let me actually use the word pi here, that the planning interval, or the earlier it was called as a program increment. Okay, be it a program increment or a planning interval, it is a bigger container planning, as simple as that. So let's say in the pi one I am going to deliver some functionality xyz. Okay, let's say in the pi2 some functionality xyz. The way to have more clarity on the estimation is, you need to slightly drill down on xyz and call out the prerequisites or precursor activities for the program increment 2 in the program increment 1 itself. If not, what will happen? You people will start the program increment, then you will think test data is not there, test environment is not there, that particular sample file is not there, markup interface is not ready, this is not there, the that is not there, customization logic is not a finalized, file is there, but when I open the file is empty. These are all the common scenarios. Okay. um, so after executing multiple projects and multiple programs, right, I see a pattern over there. Okay, for example, test data will not be ready, or for certain cases you need to do an analysis user story, because you still don't know whether for this particular API service call I can write a REST API service, or I can import a WSDL WSDL file, and I can write a SOAP, a kind of a SOAP web service, right? So whether to go for a SOAP web service or to go for a REST API service, which one to go for? So you may need to have some spike user stories or some kind of a enablers. All these things need to be proactively called, for which, as an agile coach or as a delivery manager, whatever we be the role, we need to have conversations with the functional SMEs, because we know only the process. We actually don't know beyond a certain level what actually happens in the landscape, right? So building rapport with the business analyst, building rapport with the architect, building rapport with the release manager, everything counts. Okay, okay. So just wanted to take a quick check. Are we good with the flow of the webinar till now? Can you give me a thumbs up if we are okay with the flow of the webinar? Questions we can take later. Okay, you can actually put your questions also in the chat, but the questions in the last 35 minutes, I will open up the window. Okay, good. All right. As long as the webinar is adding you some pragmatic value, I am happy with that. Okay, so these are all some of the points which we need to keep in mind. Now let's go to, okay. Okay. I will tell you how to do the confidence factor, but the theory part I will cover now, and then I will show you a Word document. Okay. Okay. See, confidence factor. Confidence factor. See, confidence factor is something, right? There are some multiple ways to arrive the confidence factor. Okay, I will tell some ways what I have done in the projects. I will show you a Word document, because I cannot show you the exact uh, Excel file used. It is my client data, so I will show you a Word document wherein some high level flow is been there. See, now how will you put the confidence factor? So generally speaking, confidence factor will be high whenever there is a lesser degree of complexity, lesser degree of functional ambiguity, right? Because your functional ambiguity and confidence factor are diametrically opposite parameters. So one of the way to arrive at the confidence factor is, you can go for a 3 point estimation, right? You might have heard it in your PMP formulas, right? You have a pessimistic, optimistic approach, and you have three estimation. You put a formula, divided it by 6, it is going to give you a 3 point estimation factor, right? And on top of that, you can put a variance level of a plus or minus a 20 percentage to factor the uh, dynamics of that particular engagement, and then you can arrive at a confidence factor. Okay, now what am I going to show you now is I'll just show you a Word document, okay, so that you can understand the confidence factor in a much more better manner rather than than a slide. So just hold on for a minute. I'm just going to pull the Word document. A kind of a scenario, and then I will show you probably how to arrive at the confidence factors. Okay, I'm just sharing the screen once again because that Excel file I cannot show you, so I'm putting the Word document. Okay, all right. See, so what we are trying to say is you need to have some clarity on the optimistic approach, which is the best case scenario, pessimistic approach, which is the worst case scenario, and the most likely approach. Okay, this is the industry formula, right? Which you all know. It's been there in the PMP also, right? Your industry formula says that four optimistic plus four times most likely plus pessimistic to get the weighted average. Now why this weighted average is very important, I'm just going to tell you now. Okay, so if you go, if okay, I'm just giving some examples here. Okay, these examples. Okay, now once I put this number, then on top of it, I will add a 20 percentage. Okay, now one guy will tell, hey Balaji, you cannot add a 20%. Okay, perfect. Okay, so one guy will tell, hey, why we cannot? We have already we have already factored it, right? Both the pessimistic and the optimistic, all these approaches. So why do we need to add a 20 percentage? One guy will tell you 15 percentage. See, I am not bothered about whether 20 percentage or 15 percentage or 30 percentage. I am actually bothered about the conversations behind the numbers. Numbers are not important in the silo world. Okay, what discussions happen behind the number, that matters. One guy will come and tell, hey, no Balaji, it is better that you add a 25 percentage because we don't have any clarity on the upstream and the downstream dependencies. So it is better to factor the variance to a greater uh, degree. Exactly, that is what I wanted from the people. When I ask my project manager confidence factor, let's say my manager says, hey Balaji, this project will take 18 months, yeah. And then the next question will ask, okay, so what is the confidence factor? Let's say that guy says 75 percentage. Then my next question will be, how did you arrive at it? That once someone gives a conviction answer on how did they arrived it, believe me, by and large the degree of discrepancy is going to be less. So it is not enough if you just do the estimates and then send. You also need to back it up with a confidence factor. Okay, I'm just covering on a high level. Okay, there are umpteen ways to do this. You can even automate it using your Excel macro. How you do exactly, that depends on so many parameters. I'm just giving you the basic thought process because in a limited time of 2 hours I need to cover multiple things. Okay, so this is one way to do it, right? Okay, now I will show you one more Word document because I'm just trying to give you the varieties on how to arrive at the confidence factor. See, for example, no, before I share the Word document, in one of the project, we actually did not add a requirements itself. Means what? We did not add any BRD. We did not add any use cases or user stories or product backlog. Nothing was that. All that we had is that legacy code or the outdated version of Angular. Luckily, we have used IBM doors, and then we have done something like a reverse engineering, like from the backward compatibility. From the code, we understood the functionality. From the functionality, we created a requirements document. Then, once the requirements document has been created, then we identified the high level building block of epics. We sliced it into features and a user story. See, if the requirement is so clear, any guy can do the project, right? Why the prospect is going to come to you? Prospects comes to you because they have a pain point, and that pain point is exact derivative of your gain share in the market. If you are not addressing the pain point, and if you are telling, hey, without requirements how I can do the project, then they will say, okay, let me go to some other company. So what we did, We have done a proof of concept. We have done a pilot initiative. We understood the legacy code. We understood the outdated version of Angular upgrade, that particular Angular code, and then we tried to understand the existing production system. Then we started creating the requirements from the legacy code, a kind of a reverse engineering. And once we are done with the reverse engineering, we captured the high level requirements. Now factoring the modernization to the core, we actually fine tune the requirements. Okay. So in the interviews, you may need to tell these level of challenges. That's what I'm trying to tell. Whenever you are giving some real time challenges, in the absence of the requirement, how is that you have already proceeded? Probably, how is that you have created an accelerator or an enabler which has improved the productivity from 12 percentage to 47.5 percentage? And believe me, these numbers are not like just like that. I'm not throwing a number. Interviewer will ask you to justify the 12 and 47.5. If you tell these kind of answers, the positioning will be better. If you're only talking about frameworks, no, everyone talks about the framework. So there is no unique selling proposition, right? So just to think through from that angle also. Okay, now let me take that one more document. Just want to tell you on a high level something what I wrote and kept it. Okay, so by the way, I was just preparing this document for the sake of this particular webinar. Okay, it is not my office material. I just put the thoughts in the document. Okay, now see here. I'm just giving an example by the by. Okay, let us assume, right? You have some high level clarity on the user stories. Let's say we have sized it, blah blah blah. And also the functional knowledge, you need to have the functional knowledge also, right? Because if you are working for a BFSI and healthcare domain, then gone. You have lot of regulatory compliance and governance. Okay, so based on that also, you may need to call out the risk dependencies. Then what I'm trying to say is, out of the total story points, see, story point is an example what I used. In a real time industry calculation, I will not be using that. I will be using feature points, one level above, correct? We will be using feature points. Okay, what are feature points? 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x, maximum 8x, right? Where x is called as a scaling factor, correct? So it is very difficult to encapsulate your epic at a granularity level of a user story points. So what we generally do, we calculate the feature points. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so replace this particular story point into a feature point based on the dynamics of the context. Now what we do, then we have some discussion this way, that way, call out the assumptions and dependencies, factor in all those things, and then we try to put some best case, worst case, and the most likely case, correct? And then what we actually generally do, something like this. I'll just show you. Okay, this part is bit important. Okay, I'm just copy pasting it in the chat for your benefit. So I am based on that confidence factor, I'm just multiplying for user story A, user story B, user story C. See, sometimes it is easy to do in this manner. Sometimes it is very difficult to go to the granularity of in this manner. In that cases, it is better to you take the best approach, the worst case and the most likely case, and then add a contingency to it. Okay. So something like this we do. Then based on the total weighted estimate point, then what is the original point? So this weighted point need to be divided by the original point. Okay, that's what I was trying to tell. All that I was trying to tell is, in the calculation, how do you arrive the confidence factor is in this manner. Okay, how many people understood at least on a very high level? If you are understood it high level, that is fine. Other things you can take a look offline. Okay, so okay, so let me tell you. Okay, how many people understood? At least I need to have some more numbers. Okay, okay. So what I'm trying to say is, when you have a bundle of work, right? A, B, C. not all ABC is of a equal complexity, right? Because why? Because for a story point, you need to know the effort involved, the technical implementation behind it in terms of the complexity, and the third important parameter is the functional ambiguity or the functional clarity, whatever it is, right? All these things, three things need to be factored. So what happens here is, when I take the original numbers, original points, right? 5 plus 8 plus 13, I can even sum it up directly. Then based upon the granularity of the feature, in this case, user story. But typically when we do the estimations, we need to do it at a feature level, right? So, so back and forth between the product owner, the architect, then the development team lead, QA guy, all these kind of discussions need to happen back and forth. And then we will be creating guidelines for the multiplier factor. Let's say, let's us call whatever number you are multiplying here as a multiplying factor for now. Depending upon that, if it is higher confidence, probably you can multiply it by 1. If it is medium confidence, probably 0.5. If it is lower confidence, then 0.25. So that weighted impact will be there in the calculation. It is something like ax plus by plus cz divided by a plus b plus c. Simple. So in that manner we actually do, and then we give the confidence factor. And after a period of time, once you have more clarity, that confidence factor also needs to be refined and a baseline. Okay. So any further discussions, you guys connect with me one on one. I'll be more than happy to help you. This is the high level thought. Okay. Okay. I'm just giving you some examples. Okay, in the chat, so that you can take a look into it. Hopefully, it should help you to understand in this manner. Then what we do, we calculate the weighted estimates. Then you go for the sum of the weighted estimates and the original estimates. Or better, after this particular webinar, I can put these thoughts in a LinkedIn article and then I will send it to you people. Hopefully, it should help better. See, because a webinar is not a mentoring session, okay? Here we have some heterogeneity group of people. We can only cover on a very high level, okay? So what are we trying to do here? That one is the direct summation of the feature points. The other is the weighted number multiplied by the total quantity. And if you divide it, that is going to give you the confidence factor. So this confidence factor is something which will vary from, not only from team to team, not only from project to project, from release to release. Because once the release goal changes, confidence factor changes, right? And as the day progresses, typically the confidence factor should come high because your cone of uncertainty comes down. See, people know all these things. People know, once I take a rolling wave backlog approach based on the progressive elaboration, cone of uncertainty comes down. This is a simple thing known to all. But how will I apply it at the right time in the calculation is the question. For that only we are actually talking about a confidence factor, which will try to connect the dots between the concept and the real time implementation of the concept. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Um, I think we covered this. Okay, one more thing before before I change the slide, right? Some of you would have joined my webinar for the first time. So I'm just sharing some of my social media links. You can become part of my group and stay connected with me. Okay. So first things first, make sure that you are part of this particular WhatsApp group. Okay. This is my own group, so make sure that you join this group. A lot of continuous learning happens over there. And also Satish is also part of this group, like as part of the SS Agile Gurus, Sharath and Satish is also part of this group, and so you can learn a lot from Satish also, and some other Agile experts also, not only from me. So that collective learning will be there once you become part of this group. And I'm also sharing you some of the social media links of mine, so stay connected through the links. Okay. I'm just trying to put it over here. because last time when I took the webinar, I forgot to put this. I realized it later. Okay, that's why I'm just giving it now itself. Okay, and some of my courses what I have in my Agile Mentorship Program also, links have been shared there. You can go through the links. Okay, because at the end of the question and answer, I will anyway try to cover up on a high level how this program is been designed and all. But for now, I'm just socializing you to get into my world. As simple as that. Okay, so we have done on a high level. Okay. 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 Now let us spend some time on the core concept, Agile Delivery Manager. Okay, I'll just share the screen again. Okay, from my perspective, I have actually picked up some image what I felt as no probably will be the closest image. So something like this, right? When you are a delivery manager, what are all the different aspects which you need to focus? These are all some of the aspects, right? See exactly what you do. Okay, some people ask me, "Hey Balaji, exactly what I need to do." Exactly what you need to do is only one thing. You need to set up time with your reporting manager. You need to set up time with your client manager. Understand the expectations from them. Accordingly, do it. No need to do any analysis paralysis here. Whenever you join any new project or a new client or a new organization, you only need to do only one thing, be it an agile coach, be it a project manager, be it a delivery manager or a product owner or a product manager, you always need to do only one thing. You need to set up time with your reporting manager from the organization and also set up time with your client manager who is going to evaluate your own performance in the landscape. Okay, and try to get to know from them what are you supposed to deliver exactly as per the context, and how is that your own success will be measured. See, sometimes projects may go for a success, sometimes projects may go for a failure. Everything is not in your control area, but you need to be successful, right? Say for example, tomorrow someone should not tell, okay, I'm just picking up a name randomly. Okay, tomorrow someone should not tell Vishal had not contributed to the project. Someone should not tell Murali Kumar had not done his part to the project. Projects may succeed or may not succeed because pragmatically you also have a limited circle of influence, right? You cannot influence everyone in the organization. You also have only 24 hours per day, correct? So you need to be very, very selective about where do you want to put your effort, correct? So I understand as an agile coach you need to expand the circle of, you need to expand the circle of influence. That is perfect. But before doing that, you need to create that credibility from the client and the management. If not, people will not listen to you, correct? So uh, what I used to do is whenever I join any new company or any new project or a new client, the first 40 to 45 days I will be more on a listening mode, and I will be exactly doing only whatever told to me to be done as per my client manager and reporting manager. After 45 days, once I created visibility, build the trust and all those things, then I begin the real game. Okay. So you also need to know where to play what to what extent also. It's not only about agile. There are other aspects which will help you to climb up the ladder. Agile alone is not going to take you to the leadership role for sure. Okay. Okay, that is my perspective, and I have seen many people only with agile. It is very difficult to go beyond middle level management. If you wanted to become part of the CXO role and all, I don't think your scaled program consultant certification is going to help you or whatever it is. You need other things like business acumen, interpreting a balance sheet, interpreting a financial numbers, your ability to drive the QBR meetings, like quarterly business review meetings. All those aspects are important, not just the agile aspect. Okay. So why am I telling this here is all these things are okay, conceptually okay, but what do you do exact? Okay, I will give a real time example. Today morning, I was doing a mentoring session to a person as part of my mentorship program. What that person had done is, she had created a kind of a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day plan for a agile coach role. And then she got sent me that Word document, and I was reviewing the Word document and having the coaching conversation with her. I told her one thing. Had you spoken to your reporting manager? No. Had you spoken to your client manager? No. Then what's the point in preparing a document of 30, 60, 90 days plan only based on your certification knowledge? Whatever she had written is perfectly correct, but it will not fit into the context. Being correct is something different. Being appropriate to the context is something different. Okay. Do, do you people agree to me, or what's your point? Had you been in a situation that you are thinking that you are trying to do the correct thing, but your reporting manager will come and tell, hey, this is not what I want, right? You might have, because I had been there with that experience. I'm saying I got like I have done some process improvement. I tried doing this thing, that thing. Then my delivery manager from client side came and told, hey, this is not what we wanted you to do. Then what you wanted me to do? Then my manager told, hey, Balaji, you should have asked this at the beginning of the journey, right? So this is an important point. Okay. Of course, from a certification perspective, from a theoretical perspective, there are some checks and balances. Means a scrum master means facilitating the ceremony, okay, helping the team to improve the performance or get into a continuous learning, a growth oriented mindset, okay, coaching the product owner, and then no maintaining the things in the Jira for your better reporting. All these things are fine, but is that what you need to do in that context or not? You need to check with your management. Without that, there is no point in putting effort. Okay. So even for this agile delivery manager, what do you exactly need to do will fit into these three circles. But exactly what will you need to do need to come from the context. See, one guy asked me, uh, say, okay, Balaji sir, can you tell me what is the success of the transformation? What is the success of the transformation? The answer is only one thing. Success of the transformation is the fulfillment of the goal of the transformation, right? Any transformation has a goal. Success of that transformation is always the fulfillment of the goal of the transformation. Now, what is the goal of the transformation? That is something you need to tell. Okay, how come I will come to know your goal of the transformation? But one thing I can tell with certainty, the success of your transformation is the fulfillment of the goal of the transformation. So, my say is something. There are some generic approaches, yes, but there are some contextual approaches. You need to get into the, because see, unfortunately, I have seen many agile coaches are not understanding the project in the first place. They are only talking about agile coaching. They are not speaking the language of the audience. If you cannot speak the language of the audience in terms of the functionality, you will be seen as an odd number in the series. In the mathematics we used to do, right? Five numbers will be given, and this third standard, fourth standard child will be asked to pick up the odd one out. If you're only talking, okay, I will give real time examples. Okay, whatever I'm saying, I'll give you a real time example. If you are telling in the interview, art 1, art 2, art 3, it is from a certification material. You need to tell at least the name of the agile release train. Say, for example, for a FedEx client, shipping art, billing art, consignment art, invoicing art. If you are only telling art 1, art 2, art 3, art 4 means it looks like you have actually you are going through some safe agilist material book and then not taking up the interview. So the project knowledge, that functional SME, everything needs to be blended harmoniously. Do you people agree to this? Do you feel the gap? Something what I'm trying to tell? Put some yes or some thumbs up or something. Because many agile coaches are in the name of coaching, they are not spending good time on understanding the functionality of the project. Correct? If you are not understanding the functionality, when you are making that conversation, no, you will always be a little bit away from the team. The team will be talking one thing, you will be talking one thing. So going forward, please spend some time to understand the functionality. What is this project about? See, you may need to build rapport with the business analyst. You go and build some rapport with the business analyst, speak to the business analyst, go through the project artifacts in the SharePoint material, and then most importantly, observe the conversation. See, for example, no, when I was working with one of my client, we had a project called a FOCE, Front Office Client Experience. We also had one project called RCCP. Okay. Now, similarly, in for one of my client, we had a project called Customer 360. Okay, Customer 360. Let's say one of my client, we had some other project by name Dealer DGPM, Dealer Granular Performance Management. I'm just giving some examples. So, what is this Customer 360? What is the input? What is the output? What is the upstream and downstream dependencies? How does the data flow happens between Customer 360 and the DGPM? Is it a synchronous communication or a asynchronous communication? What is the technologies, the landscape or the tech stack? What is the release cycle frequency? Everything matters. Now, with this knowledge, now if you talk about your Scrum or Kanban or Safe, people will resonate with you. If you are only talking generically, whatever you have learned from the certification and other YouTube videos on a very high level, that matching will not be there. Okay, so just try it out. Okay, all these things need to be tried out with courage and with confidence. Okay, there is no point to experiment things in the corporate life just one day before retirement. Then people will regret. Oh my God, at least I should have tried. Yeah, it may succeed or may not succeed, but I have not even tried. Right? So failure is always better than not trying at all. Okay, so go ahead and then try. We are not committing a crime. Okay, right? So sometimes I tell to my mentees in the Agile Mentorship Program, we are not going to rob money from the ATM. So don't have that fear. Okay, we are not doing anything against processes and policies. We are slowly coming out of that comfort zone and trying to go to the next level. So try it out and then see. Even if you fail, you will learn something. Okay, I will give some okay, like I will give you some examples. Somewhere in 2008, okay, somewhere in 2008, myself and my friend by name Sumit, okay, myself and my friend by name is Sumit Rathor, we actually tried building a performance testing framework using a load runner. Okay, because we had a load runner as the tool, which actually comes from the HP. Actually, load runner was the tool from a Mercury, like you have a QTP, but later HP had acquired the Mercury, so load runner came under the banner of HP. So myself and my friend Sumit Rathor, somewhere in 2008 or 9, long back, we tried building a performance framework using load runner. The framework partially completed. We had some expectations and a budget allocation. Okay, if I want to put it in a nice way, we have actually failed building it because it's only partially completed, and partially completed cannot be taken as a success in the organization, so we failed. But then believe me, that failure has brought us 6 offer letters within a period of 2 months. Myself and Sumit, we were able to get 5 to 6 offer letters just because by sharing that framework building experience in the interview. So if failure itself gives you 6 offer letters, then success will give you more offer letters, right? So there's no point to fear here. Go ahead and then do it. Even if you fail, you will learn something, right? So we in the interview with companies like Capgemini, Cognizant, okay, and because on those days we had a Satyam also, right? Satyam and Mindtree, those kind of companies. I was sharing my experience. Of course, in the interview, I will not tell them that I failed building it, but I was sharing my experience, how I orchestrated that particular framework and that virtual generator controller and all on the load runner. People got impressed with that, and that itself gave us 5 to 6 offer letters. So it is high time that the people try it out. Okay, that is an important aspect of agility. Okay, cool. So let's keep going. I have few more slides to cover, very important slides. Okay, now we will share some tips. Okay, how to quickly learn things now. Okay. This slide is an important slide. I have put it in the slideshow. What is the slide number it shows for you people? Can you confirm? 12, right? Slide number 12, correct? Can someone ping in the chat? Ah, all right, all right. Okay, so this slide is an important slide. What is that? See, my way of learning is like this. If you want to take a very good grip on the entire delivery management, you need to you need to go one by one. The see, PMI 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 gives, these are all the knowledge areas, right? So any kind of project or program, you are still going to use again and again all these areas, correct? Only thing, the weightage point will change. I already zoomed it out the maximum. It's in a slideshow only. One second, wait. I'll just share it again. Wait. Um, okay, one second. As long as you are able to understand what I'm saying in that, it should serve the purpose. Okay, see here. So what is my way of looking into it? First of all, don't try to learn. We should not try to learn too many things within a shorter span of time. What will happen is you will get demotivated, because practically you cannot learn too many things within a very short span of time. More the breadth, lesser will be the depth, correct? So my suggestion to, if you wanted to become a successful delivery manager kind of a role, you need to slice the cake by pieces and then consume it piece by piece. So what you need to do, first of all, you need to spend some good amount of time to understand the different process areas. See, in your PMP exam, you might have actually went through that PIMBOK material, that Rita Mulachi, whatever be the chart, and then you might have cleared it. But no one opens the PMP book by the side and then do the estimation and all practically, right? So my say is, you can take process by the one by one: cost management, scope management. Read only cost management for a month, because I'm sharing my experience, whatever worked for me. Only cost management, only budgeting for a 1 month, and within that, what you need to do: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and controlling, like 5 process groups, right? So, how does these 5 process groups actually interwoven with this particular cost management? Point number one. The second point is, which is a very important point, given that you have understood cost management across these 5 process groups, how does the cost management happen in a waterfall model versus a agile manner, right? Like if you take one process, one knowledge area per month, correct? And within that particular knowledge area, how to cut across initiation. See, everything, all process groups will not be applicable to all the knowledge areas. Okay, based on the relevance, it will change. But the way to learn is, how does cost management operate at no initiation, planning, execution, controlling, or monitoring for a waterfall model versus a agile manner. So if you do this for 10 to 11 months, one process area, like one knowledge area per month, believe me, at the end of the 10 months, you have breadth and depth of the entire subject. But unfortunately, what people try to do is, they wanted to learn so many things within a short span of time. Most likely, you will read for 2 to 3 weeks, and then the reading journey will just suspend over there. Do you people agree with me? Because I have tried all these things in the past, and some of my contact circle also tried all this. It will not work that manner. You cannot become a master of the subject overnight for sure. Any subject for that matter, right? You cannot become a master of the subject just by spending a weekend crash course. It will take years to practice, right? So my suggestion is, in this, now you may need to do the thinking. Okay, are you involved in the procurement management? Most likely no, unless and until you are taking care of the PMO activity, you are not going to do the vendor management. Typically, you will do scope management, you will do time management, you will do cost management to some extent, and definitely risk management. You take these knowledge areas, one knowledge area per month, but I will go through all the process groups. 15 days for waterfall model, 15 days for a agile manner. That is how you need to learn. Why? Because most of the engagements are executed in a hybrid manner, wherein you need to be good in both of the world. If you are only good in waterfall model, it will not work out. Similarly, if you are only good in agile based engagements, it will not work out. You need to have the right mix of predictability or a plan driven approach versus a right mix of adaptive approaches like agile. Then only you can succeed in a hybrid model. And much of the projects are uh, executed in a hybrid model only. If you take your own project, you still follow a plan driven approach at a engagement level. Your sprints and program increments will come only at a team level. Probably your delivery head is still using the Microsoft project plan Gantt chart with the predecessor, successor, your start activity, end activity, resources leveling, all those concepts have been used, right? So think through. I'm just giving you my pointers. Okay, you may still need to do the homework from your end. Okay, so my suggestion is you take one knowledge area per month, 15 days for agile, 15 days for waterfall, 15 days for agile. In the first 15 days, only cost management. Is there any relevant touch point in initiation, planning, execution, controlling, monitoring, closure? If you do like this, in 10 months time, you will be the master of the subject. Because I have done this multiple times. Okay, and like I have reached a level by seeing that RFP itself, I can tell which particular contract clause I need to put, to what extent I need to call out the aspects of waterfall model, to what extent I need to take agile based approaches. Okay, so those things will come from experience, and this is one example which I used to tell commonly in the webinar. One second, wait. Okay. Okay. This is an example which I generally tell in my YouTube video also. See, the same example I'm just trying to repeat here. So I have taken a rubber band in my hand, right? So I have taken a rubber band in my hand. I am now trying to pull it, correct? So when I pull it, you feel a tug of war or a tension between both the points. One point is called predictability. Okay. One point is called the other point is called adaptability. Okay. So it is not a question of whether this project need to be executed in a waterfall model or in a agile manner. It is indeed a question of to what extent I need to make use of plan driven approaches, to what extent I need to make use of adaptive approaches. Makes sense to you people what I'm trying to say? Because the point is like this, the concept says like this: the more you try to become plan driven, you cannot respond to change, right? More you become plan driven, you cannot respond to change. And the more you become adaptable, you cannot follow your plan. But unfortunately, leaders in the organization wanted both. Your leaders in the organization wanted predictability for the business sponsor, adaptability to serve the business agility aspect of the market. So that's why I have taken this particular example to illustrate you the point. What is the right degree of tension you need to maintain, or to strike a balance between both the points, so that both the parties harmoniously coexist? I think if you understand this knack, then winning the game should be a cakewalk. Okay, all right. Okay, so that slide I have covered. Okay, so I'm just sharing high level thoughts. Okay, now I'll go to the metrics part of it. So okay, so before I go to the slide, so going forward, most likely, much of the projects will be executed in a hybrid manner only, for sure. Okay. So the question is, hey, well, it's not a question of whether we need. Of course, see, one more thing also you may need to keep in mind. Not all projects are suitable for agile also. So what I suggest you people is there is a concept called agile suitability filter. Okay, that concept comes from the PMI Agile Practice Guide. If you look into PMI's Agile Practice Guide, there is a concept called Agile Suitability Filter, and in my own YouTube video, I have made a video on it. Okay, so see, if the scope is fixed, if the cost is fixed, if the time is fixed, then why to go for Agile? Don't ever bring Agile close to such kind of a candidates where scope is fixed, cost is fixed, time is fixed, and feedback doesn't matter by and large. It is an excellent candidate for a waterfall model. Okay, sometimes sometimes Agile fails for the reason that a wrong specimen of project has been picked up, and we are forcing the project to be executed in an agile because our competitor company is using safe framework. It is like something like this: your cousin brother did PMI ACP, your cousin brother did a safe agilist, doesn't mean that you also need to do safe agilist, right? You can do, provided you are convinced, first of all. Because someone does something doesn't mandate you also to follow the path, right? And sometimes I have seen even the so-called logical people sometimes carried away by the drift of the wind, right? It's something like this, no? In the philosophy they used to tell, today the wind will come in the northeast direction. Tomorrow the wind will come in the southwest direction. But the ship need to go where it wanted to go, not by the whims and fantasies of the wind. Of course, market demand is of paramount importance. But you still need to feel convinced, right? Whether it satisfies your passion, it satisfies your skills or capabilities, then only you need to define your career trajectory. Just because my cousin brother became a data scientist doesn't mean that I also need to become a data scientist, right? Because market demand is there for a data scientist, but are you the right candidate for data scientist? That particular check need to be done. If not, it's a waste of time and effort, right? So the same thing applies for projects also. Not all projects are applicable for agile. If you are a really experienced guy, by doing the discovery phase of the project itself, I can tell whether this project will actually work out in agile or not. Okay. All right. So these are all some of the things. So now we will get into the a kind of a metrics part. Okay. 1 minute. Wait. These metrics I have already covered, but I'm just going to introduce few more metrics also, or else I'm going to share some. Okay, so these are the typical metrics what we generally measure, right? Your say-do ratio in terms of your predictability, in terms of your throughput. See, productivity is always a throughput, number of features delivered per month or per program increment. Then your responsiveness is going to factor your lead time and the cycle time, followed by the quality. These four metrics definitely need to be there. Some people will put a flow efficiency, but internally the flow efficiency will improve once you compress the lead time and the cycle time and the throughput increases. The flow efficiency will automatically increase. Now let me share the next slide. I will toggle it and then I will share it again. Okay, so this slide is an important slide which I'm going to share. So take a minute to look into these metrics. You have your thoughts organized, and then we will continue. So these are the metrics which we recommend based on our experience also. If an organization really wanted to be agile, what are the top 10 metrics? These are the metrics. See, that fourth metrics is the sprint goal success rate. If you have executed 15 sprint, out of the 15 sprints, how many sprints you have delivered or met the sprint goal, which is the meaning of that. Then manager to create a ratio. See, you might have worked in some projects, right? Unfortunately, there are too many managers. They actually, that project needs more guys to do the core work. Unfortunately, because I have been in that particular situation with that experience, I am saying, okay, there was one project where I executed 6 years back. It's for an insurance client. what actually happened is that project had a escalation, and after the escalation and the damage all happened, I was called in as a program manager at that time. So from morning to night, I will be in the meetings, because you see, initially itself, on the very first day itself, I cannot go and then do some changes over there, right? I also need to understand the dynamics of the engagement. So morning, one guy will come from the uh, practice, some okay, something like a digital engineering practice or agile COE, and that guy will be asking, hey, what is the status, Balaji? Why the project is in red? And then I will explaining to them. Again by 10:30, 11 o'clock, my reporting manager will come for a meeting. Then again I will explain to them that particular status. Then only from that 12 o'clock to 4:30, 5 o'clock, I will have some time for the core work. Unfortunately, my lunchtime will also come on the way. Then by 5 o'clock, on-site people will begin the game. That US people. From 5 all the way up to 9 o'clock, the calls will be going back to back calls. Again from 9 to 10 o'clock, I will be no like no working. Then what I did after 4 or 5 days, I found that this is also one of the reasons why the project became red. There are so many managers, but number of creators who are actually creating value is very less. Then I spoke to the delivery head, I spoke to the client, some top guys from the client, and then we have removed some of the people who are just acting as a postmaster, taking the information from here, giving the information to that. For that, why do we need a person? You can directly talk to that person, right? Okay, so one thing, right? When Wipro did a layoff somewhere in 2014, 15, or 13 time, at the time the CEO was a TK Korean, I think. He was actually giving a news in the media. So the word he was using is, we are only eliminating the people who are acting as a postmaster. Means what? If you're only taking the data and passing on the data, you are out of the value chain, right? If any of you are doing only that work of taking the data from this team and passing over the data to some other team, most probably within the next few months, you will be cut out of the value chain. So be part of the value chain. So one of the metrics what I recommend for an agile organization is manager to creator ratio. Manager ratio should be less, creator ratio should be high. If not, what will happen? Most of the time goes in giving updates itself. Then where will the people have time to do the core work, right? So these are all some of the metrics from that approach. Okay, do you want to put some metrics from your end apart from these metrics? Do you think any other metrics? Predictability, productivity, lead time, cycle time, flow efficiency, quality related. See, within quality you can put your sonar cube, your code coverage, percentage of regression test suite passed, automation coverage, everything will come under quality. Okay, quality is a parent node of the tree. Under that you have multiple child nodes, correct? Then what are the defects in the prod? Your CSAT score, your ESAT score, your time to market, cost of change. See, many people talk about cost of a delay. Cost of change is also very very important, because any change which is introduced at a later part of the SDLC is going to incur a cost. That is why Agile says fail fast. If you decided to fail fast. At least that sunk cost will come down, right? So for those people who have some aspiration to become a agile practice head, agile delivery head, agile COE head, 40 to 45 percentage your agile knowledge is definitely going to help you. The rest of the thing is that business acumen need to be there. How to create a strategy, how to understand. See, for one of my client, we have formulated something called balance sheet driven agile transformation. You show me one certification which actually teaches this. None of the certification will teach you how to do a balance sheet driven agile transformation. Means what? I take a balance sheet, I understand the numbers in the balance sheet, and then I tell to my clients, guys, if you wanted these numbers to change, these are the strategies or changes which you want to make. If you make these changes within the next 3 months, in the next quarter, these numbers will change. If you don't want the numbers to change, then you continue with the way what you are currently doing. If you speak this language, believe me, the CXO guy will listen to you. If you're talking about Jira, velocity, story points, sprint, burn down chart, and your Fibonacci numbers, no one cares at a level of a leadership team, right? So depending upon the audience, you need to speak that language. That's what I'm trying to tell. So we formulated a concept called balance sheet driven agile transformation, where we understand the numbers in the balance sheet. See, balance sheet is one statement. We have lot of statements, okay? Cash flow statement, statement of equity. We have so many things, but the simplest thing which everyone can understand is the balance sheet. That's why I'm taking balance sheet. So if these are the numbers in the balance sheet in terms of the numbers, do we need to change anything on the capital expenditure, or do we need to reduce anything on the operational expenditure, or or we have a concept called the zero based budgeting trifecta, ZBB. You can try to Google it right away also, okay, if you want. Zero based budgeting trifecta. And we also have a concept of a dynamic budgeting and all. So what I need to do so that the numbers in the balance sheet change. So it's an outcome driven transformation, right? I'm not interested whether you will implement Scrum or Kanban or Safe. You have the liberty to implement whatever framework you want. Primarily, I need only two things. Number one, the goal need to be met. Number two, the goal need to be met in a sustained manner. So that's why in my digital transformation and strategic transformation, I also create a sustainability playbook. Okay, so that once the coach comes out of the team, what is the guarantee that the team will not fall back to their old ways of working? For that, we create a sustainability playbook. Okay, so just to cut a long story short, that business acumen need to be integrated into your agile processes. Only talking about frameworks will not take you beyond a certain level. Not only in 2024, even in 2034 also, if you are only doing the framework activity, most likely by the time generative AI and all other things are going to replace much of the mundane task, right? So just for that reason, I'm saying. Okay, cool. So let's do one thing. We have covered the metrics. Okay, metrics are important. Measuring the right metrics, of course. Okay, we have few more slides. We'll quickly cover in the next 10, next 5 minutes maximum, and then I will, open it up for a question and answer. Okay. Are you able to see now? Something I'm actually okay. Actually trying to showcase that three systems, right? Okay, you cannot read it, so I am trying to read it for you. You may need to balance it. System of a delivery contains your product roadmap, your project release planning, your framework activities. Transformation consists of transformation roadmap, coaching plan, outcome based plan, all those things. Okay, because I have given this particular image to Agile Network India for last year conference. So I have taken my own like image or picture from that link, because I have lost that PPT where I created it initially when I changed my laptop. Okay, so from there I have taken, so it is bit blurred. Then system of continuous improvement is going to talk about your enterprise level transformation, finance team, HR team, operation team, marketing team, pre-sales team, how they can also start using agile. Okay, so let's do one thing. In the interest of time, we'll just quickly go over the pending slides, and then we'll spend more time on the questions. Okay, so I'm not going to put it in a slideshow. I'll just maximize and then show it. Okay, see, in this slide we are now trying to see, if you are getting into the delivery management, right? You also need to understand the difference between project management and the product management, correct? What could be the differences between project centric approach and the product centric approach? So for that I have put some slides. Okay, so put the attributes, project versus product. Okay, so the point is like this. If someone is asking you, Hey Balaji, can you compare company X with a company Y? It is not a wise idea to directly jump on a comparing company X with Y. First of all, I need to list down the attributes, right? The parameters. On this parameter, company X versus a company Y. Same thing here. So what is that we have done? We have called out the attributes. For this attribute, what do, okay, for this attribute, how does a project mindset behave and whereas a product mindset behaves. Simple, right? So from that perspective, we have put some points. Okay. On the other slide, what I have is something on some important points on okay, how will you help your organizations to maximize the benefit? Your prioritization, modernizing the core. You need to focus on your architecture guidelines. You bring in automation and artificial intelligence. Here, automation you can read it as both automation and artificial intelligence. Okay, that is something. So these are all some of the testimonials to tell my previous companies, just to tell I had been there and done it. So just to give a proof to walk the talk, right? Or I've just clipped certain elements from my previous companies and then I have put it over here just for your information. Because people should not think this guy comes, he talks, had he done it hands on somewhere. For that reason, I'm just showing few of the things. Okay. All right. So I'm now just going to talk about my mentorship program, those aspects. But before that, let's spend some time on the Q&A. Anyone wanted to ask any question, go ahead and then ask it. I'm just trying to unmute you people. Or anyone wanted to share your thoughts or you learned anything from this particular webinar also, feel free to share it now. Anyone wanted to share your thoughts? Just trying to unmute you people. See whether you can unmute yourself. Yeah, just make a try. You want to ask any question or you want to tell me anything or you want to give a feedback or you want to share something what you learned here, anything and everything pertaining to these areas you can do now. Sure, sure. Sharad, you wanted to share your views. I think this is the first time you are attending my own webinar. We have discussed offline anyway. Or
Yeah, Balaji, can you hear me?
yes, Sharad. Yeah, Sharad.
Yeah,
Go,
yeah,
go
you're
ahead,
right.
please.
It's the first time I'm attending,
Okay,
and I can say in just two words, it's an awesome session.
okay. Good to know
I
that.
think it's the need of the hour
Uh-huh.
because even though we implement good frameworks, as I told in the chat,
Uh-huh.
nowadays the organizations are also looking more in terms of how a person can be able to deliver the end-to-end project, keeping all
Hmm.
the factors in perspective. That
Hmm.
may be the reason because of some cost cutting measures or something, because they just want
Hmm.
to, they just don't want to, I mean, organizations, in my limited perspective, I'm sharing this.
Yes, sure. Uh-huh.
Organizations don't want just a scrum master or an agile coach to where they cater to certain set of skill
Hmm.
set.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
get it, end-to-end benefit. That is one perspective because of
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
this session makes very good relevance. And the way
Sure.
you covered for the mid senior level and senior level, what kind of different perspectives they need to keep into picture, right?
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
they talk about big transformations and all, it's
Hmm.
all very good
Sure,
um,
Sharad.
wake up session.
Hope
So
to see you in our future webinars too, as part of our association, whenever time permits. I understand that you are also a busy person, you have your priorities, but whenever possible, you can join our webinar gladly.
definitely, thanks for that.
Sure, Sharad.
Once again, congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so okay, anyone has any other questions? See, you can unmute your mic and
Balaji,
then ask
one
now.
question
Yes,
I have.
Ambush. Yes,
Yes,
Ambrish.
yes. See, I have seen in my service company scenarios where a lot of agile projects have failed because we
Mm.
have an agile advisory group, and then this there are some projects which run on some cloud or maybe which run on some specific, like things like SAP, where
Mm.
they are not utilized the agile advisory group for coming and doing a proper kind of a transformation, as a
Okay.
result of which what is happening is this what you mentioned is a very idealistic scenario where delivery manager will actually talk with the client manager, then he will
Mm.
talk with the agile coach and then see what transformation is there, and even I said value stream mapping and all. But when you come into the project itself, you see that the
Mm.
project has started off without a proper agile transformation in place, because agile advisory has not been commissioned for this. So they
Okay.
went with something like, okay, let us start and we do something like a hybrid waterfall. Then okay, let us switch to agile,
Mm.
and that they don't know whether they don't have an agile coach at all. All they have
Okay.
is a couple of tribes or a couple of teams which is having scrum masters, and then they have delivery manager, they have release manager, and they have and then they have and then when they bring it up, you don't have this concept of a proper transformation. But some what happened is, unfortunately, the effort required, like what you mentioned, is a very huge effort. Like for example, a complete operational transformation, or a complete transformation at the cloud level, spanning over like 24 months or so. So with very poor planning like that, that with a when I'm telling you itself that for a 24 months planning itself, you don't have a single agile coach, and agile advisory is not being commissioned, and you're simply running this project with
Mm.
a couple of scrum teams, not even in safe, because at least you should be running it in safe if it's going to be a bigger engagement to bring art and everything.
Mm.
So a lot of things like, and you're talking about, release tracking, release, and then you talk about risk, you talk about this, and there is a chaos all over the place. So
Mm.
what do you say for that kind of thing? Because what you mentioned is very idealistic, but I am not sure whether all, projects are actually going with the proper things. Like, you commission an agile advisory, they come and start from ground zero and
Mm.
kick it, or maybe sometimes they mess it up because they don't even involve agile. They come to realize in the middle.
Okay. So let me answer your question. And okay. So okay, understood your question. Let me answer your question. Okay. So before I answer that question, right? If you people, any of you wanted to connect with me one on one, if you wanted to discuss anything on agile or anything on career guidance, or you want to you want to talk to me on your challenges in your office work or interview, or you wanted my help to streamline your resume in a better manner, whatever be the help pertaining to the career, of course. Okay, you can make use of this link what I put in the chat now. It's a calendly link. You can block 30 minutes of my time tomorrow. Once you block my time, automatically Zoom mail that Zoom link to join will be sent to the registered mail ID. You can connect with me, and before you connect, you are expected to send your resume to me on this particular number. This is my WhatsApp number what I pinged you now. You can send the resume, block my time there, we can connect over there. Okay, now coming back to Ambrish question, no, let me answer it one by one. See, first of all, that situation has multiple aspects or perspectives. Point number one, for in a service based company, I'm just giving an example. Let's say in a service based company like a cognizant has their own agile practice. And now let's say some project is running in a Citibank. Okay, just as an example, first of all, what happens, Citibank guys will not allow, first of all, in the first place, for cognizant agile advisory group to come and help over there, because Citibank will have their own agile working operating model. Whether you call it as an agile working operating model or some other fancy term, generally these clients will have their own agile center of excellence. So working in a captive unit product company has a huge difference when it comes to service organization. Service organization, generally these guys will go and do consulting if and only if it is called out for explicitly. If not, these guys will deliver the BAU show. Point number one. Point number two, why does failure happen? That's what I told at the beginning. If the definition of success is not clear when you begin the journey, that itself is a failure only, right? When we begin the journey on a transformation, both from system of delivery, both from system of transformation, definition of success need to be clearly articulated. If not, what will happen? Differences, discrepancy in the perception on success itself, that itself is the root cause for the failure. Because one guy will tell, hey, we have fixed the CI/CD pipeline, yeah, so our transformation is done. One guy at portfolio level will tell, no, 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 you have not done dynamic budgeting, so you have not the uh, transformation doesn't yield that value. Some other guy will tell, no, no, there is no prioritization technique in the first place. So unless and until you have a definition of success clearly written as a working agreement, articulated and shared and created a buy-in, there is no point in talking about transformation success in the first place. Now, the other aspect to the question is, transformation is successful provided you have solved the top 3 or 4 systemic issues. Okay. Okay. What do you mean by systemic issues? In some cases, dependency management could be a problem. In some cases, funding could be a problem. In some cases, streamlining the release management process is a challenge. Any transformation for that matter, if it has solved permanently the problems, the top 3 or 4 systemic issues of the landscape, that also can be taken as a success criteria. So I think your question has multiple fragments. Okay, we cannot, I cannot give one single answer to that situation. Does it sound relevant to you, Ambrish?
Yes, yes, to an extent. Yes, Balaji.
Yeah, and by the way, Ambrish is part of my 150 Agile interview question and answer lesson plan. Ambrish, you can share your experience also, Ambrish, just for the larger audience, whatever comes to your mind. Like, how
Yes,
does our interaction help you, or what you learned
right.
in the short term?
Correct. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Balaji. So, folks, like I have been part of this 150 question and answers program by Balaji. It is a very good session. So, what happens is Balaji takes you to the current industry relevant, what actually people are looking for in terms of the current market, and what are the different things that goes on in the interviewer's mind when they actually ask those questions. So, nowadays, as you know, things are not just theoretical. And previously there was, like, for example, in Scrum Master, they used to just ask from Scrum Guide. Nowadays it's not like that. Things have evolved to a point where multiple roles are there and more scenario based questions are being what is known to test your actual work experience. And Balaji's programs is much more in terms of that, like, how do you add those touch in terms of the working experience, and then how do you relate with your work experience, whatever is the current evolving trend. And the story, and his like the 150 questions, which takes you through different topics, gives you a widespread analysis on the same for people who are aspiring to, like, grow in their career as a scrum master, or maybe an agile coach, or maybe they take the career to the a new level. That is the part of the curriculum. In addition to it, once you join the curriculum, Balaji is also very helpful and available. Of course, he has a lot of mentees, so but always when you have some doubts or something, he always, like, makes time to respond to your queries, and also makes time to, like, talk to you if you have any kind of challenges in terms of how to do what you're actually encountering in terms of roadblocks and how to overcome it. And then using his experiential insights that he calls, he will try to put that in his perspective and try to give his insights, which will, you can connect the dots, and you can also, like, take the bits and pieces from it. So right now, as I said, networking and knowledge is very important, and Balaji's sessions are going a long way. And I would suggest that keep connected, keep learning, and that's how I think in this difficult times, or as I would say, market is evolving. We need to evolve and adapt ourselves. That's about it. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Ambrish. Okay, yeah. So, for those people, because if you take the case of Ambrish also, he actually connected with me through this particular Calendly link. He has blocked my time, and in that one-on-one session, I actually guided him, because in our Agile Mentorship Program we have different lesson plans. Okay, because for a simple reason, I cannot take the lesson plan of a Scrum Master and give that lesson plan to the head of the Agile practice unit, right? Because Scrum Master's user persona is something different, whereas the Agile COE head has a different competency and capabilities. So that is why in the Agile Mentorship Program we have diversified and created multiple lesson plans or courses based on the conversation, one-on-one conversation probably I can suggest you which will be the closest lesson plan. And then if you are interested, we have a process. You need to fill the enrollment form, and once you are done and all other things are done, you can sign up for the program. Okay, for those committed people, you can make use of my Calendly link tomorrow. And one more thing, reciprocating that you all been in this particular webinar, the entire webinar, I'm just sharing that that 50 agile interview questions. One second, wait. I'm just take the folder. uh, these are all the questions what I created based upon my experience. 1 minute, wait. I'm just trying to that folder. Okay, I'll just give you a PDF. You can use that PDF as a sample interview questions. 50 questions I have put over there based upon my experience. Okay, I have sent the PDF. If you still have any challenges to get this PDF, feel free to ping me on the WhatsApp number. Okay. And one more thing, as I always tell, before you exit, make sure that you have joined this particular WhatsApp group. Let me tell why. See, this WhatsApp group is something I have formulated this WhatsApp group in March 2021. When I started this particular WhatsApp group, many of my friends were laughing at me. Hey, Balaji, what are you going to do with the 10 people in the WhatsApp group? Yeah. Currently, this WhatsApp group has 970 people over a period of 10 years. Organically, I have built this group. The one of the benefit in this group is most of them are agile experts, right? So whenever you are posting a question, of course you may need to wait for some time. Please don't expect immediately people will jump answering to you, but the point is you will be getting multiple perspectives. See, always I tell people, do not try to find the solution, understand the problem, which itself 50 percentage of this solution, and try to generate as many perspectives as a possible. Solution could be one among them. Many people have the mentality that one question, only one answer. Absolutely no, right? That is what the safe also says, right? Assume the variability and preserve the options, correct? So you need to have multiple options. That thinking will come from the group when you hear multiple perspectives. So after you observe those answers, believe me, after 4 months, 5 months, the level of thinking will get more refined, right? So be part of this group and keep learning. Okay, other things we'll discuss anyway. Okay, so before I wrap up the webinar, right, any quick feedback from you people? I saw the group chat, you have already given some feedback, but anyone wanted to share your feedback on this webinar? At least one or two people can share. Or how do you feel? Yeah, Mailesh,
Hello.
do you want to
Hi.
talk?
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah, please
Balaji.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, this is Nilesh.
Yes.
I'm currently being in the journey of being transformed to project management and delivery roles. So
Okay.
this session has given me a lot of insights because I am basically from a product-based organization. I worked for around 12 to 13 years. Now I shifted to a service-based industry.
Okay. Okay.
So slowly, not slowly. I'm in the past 1 year. I'm learning through all the process of service industry, and
Okay.
currently I'm in the process of understanding what are the knowledge which I require, what are the process
Mm-hmm.
should I know
Mm-hmm.
in terms of service industry part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So this session has helped me to understand and understand to learn and also to to answer the interview wise also to
Mm-hmm.
understand how to explain, even though you know a lot of things, but you have to put in a perspective wherein whom that answer is needed, who listens to me. And that is
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest trait which I understood from this session. And I have definitely going to follow this up. And I'll join the WhatsApp group. And thanks for
Sure, sure.
taking up this session.
Yeah, and if you want, you can block my time also tomorrow in that Calendly link, so that
Sure.
we can, because the reason, see, the reason I have created that Calendly link is some of our friends may have that particular inhibition to share their problems and their, because every person has their own reservations, including me. Sometimes, I also feel little bit difficult to share my problems in front of the larger audience or the forum. That is why I'm giving that opportunity for committed people to spend time with me or invest their time with me for 30 minutes. There I will exactly try to be a, see, I will play the role of an improvement enabler. The improvement is going to happen with that person only, but I will show the
Exactly.
path. I will share my expertise or my experience, because I have been in the industry for 23 years and 14 years in agile world. So I know to a considerable extent, at least not all, but to a considerable extent. So so there we can connect, and probably I can share you better insights also. Okay.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Okay, sure, welcome. Okay, then, so we can wind up here for the webinar. Keep attending the webinar, because generally on most of the Saturdays I take the webinar and I make sure that I change the topic every week. It's not that every Saturday Balaji will take the webinar on the same topic. Of course, within the gamut of Agile, I keep changing project management, product management, enterprise agility, so many things. See, Agile is an ocean, okay? So keep attending and keep learning. For any challenges, you can connect with me. Okay, all right then.
Before you go,
Yeah,
Balaji, have you pasted that agile questions which you said PDF? You said you
I
have
have sent
posted.
that PDF. I have sent the PDF here.
Okay.
Once again, I have sent the PDF. I'm sending it once again. Anyway, like I have shared my WhatsApp number, right? You can ping me one on one.
Right.
Okay, I will send it to
Right.
you,
Right.
or
Right. Right.
my team will also mail it to you if you want.
Yeah. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
all right then. See you.
Yeah.
Good luck to all, and keep learning and
Yeah.
keep growing together. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, thanks, Balaji.
Yeah, sure, sure, Jiju.